Okay, we're recording.
There you go.
All right, cool. So I wanted to talk about perception, and the reason I wanted to talk about perception is because the way you perceive things can make a night and day difference in the way your clients perceive you. And it's important to know, like, that your perception is really, really, really going to put people in the direction to where they're actually going to either give you resistance or they're going to give you positive feedback, which is what everybody wants. When you reach out to a client, you obviously want to be able to use the scripts and to get it to work and to just people saying yes, yes, yes. But if you perceive these people in certain ways, you're not going to get that. So for my first example of perception, which I asked Maddie earlier, we were kind of chatting, is, and I want you guys to answer on all these. You guys don't have to stay muted or nothing like that, but I want you guys to answer, to these questions. So let's say I have a cup, okay? It's an empty cup, and I have a pitcher of water, right? And I fill that cup halfway up. Is it half full or is it half empty? This is a trick question, but I want to see what you guys say.
It's half full.
Yeah, half full.
Why is it half full?
Because he said you filled it.
Exactly. So your perception, so I'm filling it up. Now let's take that and do this, okay? If I fill a cup up all the way to the brim, right? It's full, and I dump half the water out. Is it half full or is it half empty at that point?
It's half full.
It's half empty now because it was full and I dumped out some water. So now the cup is half empty because I took away from what I had. So whenever just that little thing can change the whole trajectory of what you're saying to somebody. And so imagine this. Imagine you're in the DMs of somebody, you're talking to somebody, and you come at them and you're like, well, how are you doing? I just wanted to reach out to you and see if you're into health and wellness. Do you want to talk about fitness? You're kind of half in, you're half invested, right? And so if you go in there half invested, that client's going to give you feedback that's halfway interested. Well, what do you have to offer? Versus if you go in and you say, hey, Tom, I love that pin on your head. Notice something about you. Do you like the color red? Now you're kind of like, yeah, actually, I do. I like red. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of like I'm coming at you more excited versus just like, so, hey, Tom, I noticed you have that pin on your ear. And do you like pins? Do you like to draw by chance? So it's kind of sketchy. It's just like you don't really feel like you can relate back to me. It's the same with these clients. When you come at a client, you got to go in on full force. And I'm making a post right now, which I'll be posting later about track and field. These 3 tips are going to tie in to perception. And the perception of how you tie this into your every single day business is going to make a night and day difference for the results that you get. The first one that I have that will help you with your perception is when you're moving forward, you're not really looking backwards. You're not looking to the side. You're not looking to the right. You're just keeping your eye focused on the prize. For me as a track athlete, I'm focusing on that finish line, right? And that's where I'm running to. I'm looking straight where I want to go and I have my blinders on. So whenever you're group hacking, whenever you're reaching out to clients, whenever you're doing certain things, like on the front of this piece of paper, I wrote down different things I do. You don't want to necessarily go into it with a thought of what can go wrong. You just want to go into it with the ideal of like, what can go right? And if somebody tells you no, don't think, okay, well, that's it. Like I had somebody tell me no, like, hey, I can't hop on the call because I can't, be face to face. It has to be just over the phone. And I said, you know what? That's fine. No big deal. Let's go ahead and reschedule. It's not a big deal. I understand you got little ones running around. You're doing your thing. Let's just reschedule. And she was like, yeah, that's perfect. Versus, well, like, hey, I can't do it that way. We have to do it this way. And then she potentially could have just said, you know what? I just don't want to talk to you. Right. So my perception of just giving an alternative versus just trying to change her mind helped allow me to reschedule an appointment with that client. Or if you have a client and you don't necessarily have something in your program, like let's say one of you guys are trying to sell Beachbody and you want to incorporate your program into it. Let's say you don't have a meal plan, right? And you got a client that says, well, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a program, I'm looking for a supplement, I'm looking for workouts, and also, I want, a meal plan to kind of be tied into that. if you don't have a meal plan, are you going to tell the client, well, I don't have a meal plan? Or are you going to say, absolutely, let's go ahead and get you signed up and then figure out the meal plan and get it going for them? It's how you perceive it. And so if you just run with things, go full force, and worry about failing forward versus failing, it will make it a lot easier for you to actually take action and embrace those mistakes. And for me, I messed up a lot of the times doing certain things, and I would find myself getting discouraged because I would have failures, or I would do certain things and I'd be like, well, what if I mess up? Well, how are people going to view me? Instead of just, let me ask you this, Jamie, did you play football ever or anything like that? You look like you played football.
No, I used to skateboard.
You used to skateboard. This is perfect for you then. I can really relate to you as a skateboarder. So if you fall off of a rail, it's better to fall off a rail grinding forward than it is to slip out and fly backwards, right? Because now you can kind of catch yourself versus falling backwards. You have nowhere to go. You have no stability with that or anything like that. With your program, there goes David. What's going on, David?
What's going on, man? How you doing, man?
We're doing good, man. We're talking about perception. And I'll go back and touch on a few more things before we hop off, because I wanted to do 30 minutes, but I still want to give you some value and stuff. But like I was saying, Jamie, if you fall forward, you can catch yourself. And nonetheless, what I'm getting at with the whole football thing is if you fall forward, at least if you get tackled, you get the extra inch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same with this. If you get a no from somebody, don't let that throw you back. Don't let that project you backwards. Say, okay, well, I got no, but what did I take from this that I can take into the next time I'm DMing somebody? What did I learn from this that I can extend and grow from that? You always want to be adding on to what you have and looking at things from an abundant standpoint, not of a place of lack. If you fail, always try to fail forward, you know? So that's one of the things I think that you guys can perceive and actually take from anything you do, whether it be coaching people, whether it be in your fitness, whether it be in, you know, guidance and accountability, whatever you're doing. If you always look at things from a different perspective versus just like, there's only two things that can happen. One, you succeed or fail. Look at things as like, okay, if you don't necessarily get what you want, it can be a learning experience. All the losses you have, you can take all of those losses and you can use those things to learn from them so that the next time around you can succeed. As far as that goes, do you guys have any questions with like the perception of things, like as far as when you're reaching out to people or anything like that? Because I'm going to start touching now on how you can incorporate both into your business.
I think only thing I wanted to say was just when you said about receiving no's, since I've received a lot of no's.
Yeah.
I've learned from those, and I just think that you got to take no with a smile. You know, like it's okay for them to say no or reject you, because I use a different analogy. It's no different than all of us. You know, we found the opposite sex or whatever we like attractive, and I'm sure you've been rejected, but that didn't tarnish your heart and make you just stop talking to people.
Exactly. And I will say this, that's something I learned from Brandon Carter whenever I was doing high ticket. So one thing he said was that I really took from him is, and I heard this on the modules, this person was complaining. Well, I'm just done with group hacking. I'm not going to do it anymore. I got kicked out of 2 groups. Okay. And what Brandon said on there, he said, let me ask you this. How many groups did you get kicked out of? And they were like, well, 2. He said, how many groups are you in? And the person was like, I don't know, like 80, 90. He was like, exactly. He was like, what if I just quit girls because one girl was like, I don't like you? Would I go gay? No. And I'm not saying like that in a bad way if anybody on this call is, you know, gay. And I'm not saying you guys are, but what I'm saying is that like, you can't just give up that easy just because somebody gives you resistance. You know what I'm saying? Or you can't base your facts or your reality on the perception of 1 or 2 people. And that's just so important not to do that. You know, you have to keep pushing forward, and you can't keep making changes just because you got resistance from 2 people or 1 person. And if you know something to be effective, keep running with it, but don't allow 1 or 2 people to change your perspective on what you're trying to do. And just keep moving forward. And then here's another thing you can do, guys. Whenever you are on a call and it's between, you know, Beachbody, whether it's high ticket, whatever kind of sell it is, if somebody tells you like, well, you know what, right now is just not the right time, don't say, okay, great. Well, just let me know when you're ready and we'll go from there. Say this to them. You know, obviously you have a reason for saying that. Would you mind sharing it with me? It's like slow them back down, because at that point you're not saying I disagree with you, but obviously you have a reason for saying that. Would you mind sharing it with me? And then they're going to dig into why they don't want to do it right now. It might be money. It might be their spouse. It might be that they just got cut off by somebody at the stoplight and now they're pissed off. You know what I'm saying? So it could have been anything, and let them get it out. Don't wait to overtalk that person. Let them get it out. Oh, well, you know, my wife right now, she just doesn't really believe in me. She doesn't really want me to do this. So let me ask you this. You know, everybody out there is, you know, you're supporting your wife. Am I correct? Okay, great. And you're supporting your kids. Who's supporting you? What about you? Who's got your back? Now you've drawn them back to where you want to be at. So if I can help you and I can have your back and I believe in you and I can help you believe in yourself, what do we got to lose? What's stopping you from taking action today? So whenever you draw them back to the drawing board and you're trying to get them to understand you, it's not about you, it's about them. It's not always, the no's aren't always because you guys aren't doing the right thing. Sometimes it's the people you find, they don't feel like they've got out what is wrong with them. And if you can relate to what's wrong with them, they'll be more than happy to do business with you. They'll feel heard, they'll feel understood. As guys, as men, and I'm actually grateful that not a lot of people showed up, because I can relate to you guys on a different level right now on certain things. But a lot of guys, we're kind of just like, any of us on this call, we could get into a fist fight and we'd probably go have beer and be buddies tomorrow, you know? But, you know, we don't hold grudges on that sense because we're not necessarily too attached to the emotional side of being heard. But that doesn't mean that whenever it comes to departure of money coming out of your pocket, you don't want to be heard, right? Like, at any given point, if you guys were going to go buy a brand new truck tonight, you'd want to make sure the salesman understood the things you wanted, right? You know, the tow hitch, the trailer package, the 4x4, all those things, you want to feel understood before you just make that purchase of $50,000. So with these clients, whenever they spend $180 for a challenge pack, or whether they pay for your accountability coaching or your guidance, they want to know that their needs are going to be met. And if you can meet those needs and they understand that you're going to meet those needs, they're going to be willing to give you the money. And the only objection at that point would be the cost, nothing else. And at the end of the day, I could go to sleep tonight knowing that I didn't get a customer just because of cost and not any other reason. And I think that's the hang up for a lot of people. I feel like a lot of us, we don't want to lose thinking it's like, what did I do wrong? You just want to know that, okay, they didn't have the money, but if they did, they would have signed up. Am I right or wrong? You know? And I feel like that if you guys focus more on listening to the clients longer and not over talking them, but trying to understand them, these two key things right here, and that objection I said, where I said, obviously you have a reason for saying that. Would you please share it with me? That's number one. And number two is this. This is super simple. Would you please go into a little bit more detail on that? Help me understand why that's important to you. Saying those two things to people over and over throughout the call, they're going to start to feel like they can really, really rely on you and trust you. And there's three things that makes a person spend their money with you. And it's not just the product. They have to know, they have to like, and they have to trust you. If you can get those three things across to people, they will do anything for you. They will go above and beyond. They will bend over backwards to do business with you. I have a lady right now, and she's actually a Tulsa local, that just signed up with me. She signed up for Beachbody, but she also signed up for accountability coaching for 6 months. She did not have enough money to pay for all of it paid in full. This woman went to her mom, her dad, her sister, and she got the money. She didn't have the money, but she wanted the coaching because she knows me, she likes me, and she trusts me. And so if you can do those three things, that will really, really help you. I'm going to touch on 2 price points because I don't want to confuse you guys. And over time, I'm going to start adding more and more and more. But on this first call, I just want to show you guys 2 ways that you can incorporate Beachbody and high ticket, okay? So The first way to do this is on a simplistic scale, is just $100 for accountability coaching plus the container system, which is $9.95. So you got $100 plus the container system, which is $9.95, which give or takes 120 bucks. Let's just call it that. The second way, aside from selling a challenge pack, that you can do business with Beachbody is $100 accountability plus the $40 Beachbody on demand. So you can sell them on your accountability. So provided you give them a structure, whatever kind of program you have, and then that's $100. And then you are going to stay on the phone with them. You're not going to just say, okay, get off the phone. Here's the, beachbody.com, go here and get. No, you'll stay on the phone with them. And then you want to do a share cart with them, and you want to give them the 3-month Beachbody on demand, which is $39. And so in a nutshell, you're going to get $2 on commission from the containers. You're not going to get much money from the Beachbody on demand, but you've incorporated both, and it's less than what you would typically charge somebody for a high ticket. And that's what I did in the start to get myself in the door with Beachbody, to where I'm making a little bit of money and enough to stay active and enough to keep me going until I was confident enough to sell challenge packs. Because let's face it, from the jump, I was like, I'm doing a lot of work. I'm giving them this full challenge pack, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you can get the challenge pack, I'm not saying turn it down. But for me, I was kind of unconfident knowing what all the challenge pack provided from the start. So if you can get their foot in the door and you say, hey, you got my $100 for accountability, you got the containers. So nonetheless, you can at least follow a structure of something until you get comfortable. Then at that point, let's say 2 or 3 months goes by and they're not even on workouts. You can still be giving them the samples in that meantime and kind of get them warmed up to Beachbody. Hey, I like these samples. What would it look like moving forward? How would things look moving forward if I wanted the workouts for real? At that point, then you can say, well, hey, there's 2 ways we can do this. If you want to go for, 3 months for $40, you can do that. Or I can do a challenge pack for you. You're going to get a 2.5-pound bag of protein, and all the workouts are going to be covered for 1 full year. And as long as you remain active as a Beachbody coach, just meaning provided you get the discount and you just order your products every month that you're going to continue to use, I'll just leave you on here for the accountability. How does that sound for you? You see where I'm coming from? It's a little bit easier to sell it like that. All right, Maddie. Maddie's got to hop off here. Later, girl. See ya. But that makes it a little bit easier for you to actually sell versus just like trying to pull somebody in and saying, hey, come on board. I want you to be a coach. I'm going to teach you all this stuff, because it becomes overwhelming a little bit. And you guys get a little overwhelmed trying to think about, well, how would I bring these people in and teach them all this stuff, right? So the first thing is that you got to be able to make a little bit of money so you can stay active. You can make a little bit of money. All you got to do at this point is just sell 1 client a month at $100 plus the containers, right? That's $120 sell, and you make all of that $100. Now, spending $115 to remain active is not a big deal, and everything on top of that's just added to your pocket, right? Anything on top of that now, like let's say if you only do 1 client a month at $100 for accountability plus the containers, and then everybody moving forward is just challenge packs, well, at that point, at least you're covered, right? Your draw's covered. You don't have to worry about nothing else. And at this point, now you can focus more on, okay, everything else is out of the way. I'm active. Now I need to focus on building more clients. I need to get more people on my team, etc. And it's not like you're just out trying to do that to function. But once you get confident in getting some sales under your belt, then you can start raising the prices. Then you can start, charging a lot more for it. But for right now, I feel like that if you guys come in at $100 to sell, maybe a handful of people, I think anybody on this call right now, I think could easily go out right now, and provided I show you exactly how I have my Trello board set up. If you show that from left to right and every structure on there that I've showed you guys in the past, I think anybody on this call right now could sell it for $100 pretty easily. Because for $297 a month, people were willing to buy it. You know what I mean? Without the container system. So if you sell the same thing, whether it be vegan or keto or balanced diet or whatever it is, I feel very, very confident that any of you guys could sell that for $100. Have you guys tried to sell? And you guys can all unmute yourself or whatever you want to do, but have you guys tried to sell your high ticket program a little bit cheaper than $297 or anything like that?
Yeah. I've done $250.
$250? How did that go for you? Did a lot of people kind of hop more on that?
Yeah, people signed up.
Right. How about you, Tom?
I had one guy that I did do a little bit less for him, but it was combined. I think I actually did but then I gave him the container system with Body on Demand. I gave him the challenge pack with $100. So it already worked. And now that you're saying that, I didn't realize that. But
that's amazing.
Just gotta do more of that.
Yeah, and here's another way you guys can do it too. So let's say that the Beachbody On Demand cost, right? And they're like not sold on the challenge pack. You've done everything you can. You can't get them on the challenge pack. You could do $99 for the Beachbody On Demand for the full year. And you can tell them, hey, I'm a coach. I'm also with Beachbody. I'm going to charge you $50 for accountability. And then all you have to pay for is the Beachbody On Demand. Now you're thinking to yourself, $50, man, that's cheap. Well, hold up. If you're going to get half of that, which is $50, actually you end up getting a little bit less than that, but still yet, you end up still getting like $90 at the end of the day. So, I mean, you're not losing. Let's say you sign them up with just the Body On Demand for $99 for a full year. You sell them the container system at $9.95, and then you charge them $50. You're still making some money. And from there, a lot of people are going to, if people are staying with you for a full year, they're going to start saying, well, you know what? I've been with this Beachbody. What about that Shakeology? Because it's constantly advertising Shakeology on Beachbody's website. Mm-hmm. At that point, you can be like, the Shakeology is there. Like, there's two different ways we can do this, One, you can either pay $130 or you can pay $160, and, I can save you some money. You get a 2.5 pound bag of protein. You've already got the workouts on lock. So now all we've got to do is just do a completion pack for you. I won't charge you for accountability this month. I'll save you that $50 and we'll just sign you up for a challenge pack. How does that sound for you?
So do you do the accountability through like Stripe or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, or Stripe, any of them, whichever the one they want. And on the call, I take that payment before I suggest that, hey, you have to have this as well. You see where I'm coming from?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
How do you do the accountability part?
So what I do for the accountability part is I make them their own Trello board. And then every single day I just check in with them. Hey, how are you doing today? You doing okay? Just wanted to make sure everything's going smooth for you. Now, are you checking your boxes off? Are you eating the right foods? Are you doing what you're supposed to do? That's it.
Yeah.
And that's really it. And I tell them, like, you have my contact information. You can reach out to me via the Trello board and just kind of write me on there. I have a chat box. Let me show you guys kind of how I have everything set up. Give me permission to host this so I can share, Romeo. David, do you got any calls over there? Well, any questions over there, brother? I think he's still in here. Maybe he is not.
Yeah, he's out.
He's out?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to share this with you guys real quick and kind of show you what this looks like. So, okay. Let me get to one of my.
You can always add to it also.
Oh, yeah. You can always add. You can take away or add or whatever you want to do.
Yep.
So this is what I give. And this isn't to take anything away from Beachbody. Like, obviously, you still want to remain doing what you're doing, remain active, all that stuff. This just gives you the incentive to do both without a lot of work behind it.
Right.
Jamari. Okay, we got Jamari coming on here. But this is pretty much already over, but hold
I
up.
mean, we got it recorded though.
Yeah, that's right.
You wanna cause from you recording it, we can just put it in the group.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
So like, as far as accountability goes, guys, this is all they're getting. You know what I mean? Something basic. And like, nonetheless, the self-development and all that stuff, that's just a plus. They don't even have to have that. Literally, all you really need is this right here. So daily nutrition, I put custom recipes just because, like literally, you could have the Shakeology on here. You don't even have to have this on here. You could literally take this off and just have the daily nutrition, the workouts, and notice I have my workouts on here, and then I also have all these other ones. Admit. And then you got progress report, and then the contacts. So on the contacts over here, here's how the clients are gonna actually talk to you. Right here, I've got a messenger box. So all I did literally was just copy and paste a photo from Facebook Messenger. I put this on my Trello board, and then literally at the bottom, the clients can go in and just be like, you know, hey, Tom, what's up? You know what I mean? And that's it. Like, they can just chat me on here. So instead of them having to reach out by Facebook or anything else, they can reach out.
Telegram
Yeah.
is also a good app. Have you ever
Right.
used that?
Telegram is amazing.
Yeah, and you can turn off notifications so it doesn't bother you. Like you can check it at your own time.
Right. And that's the same with this. Like, they don't ever know whether you read it or not. But what they do know is that they know you're going to be able to see it at some point. And so like that's the cool part of it. It's like you don't really have to spend so much time like, oh shit, they noticed that I read the message, now I got to respond. It's like on there, it's like you can do whatever you want, and you can also delete messages too, which is kind of nice because if you mess up on something, you can actually delete it and correct it, and you can edit your messages. So that's pretty nice to be able to have that luxury. What's going on, guys? Y'all are kind of hopped on a little bit later, and that's fine. We were just kind of talking about perception and like, you know, just the way you look at things and how you guys can market things, whether it be Beachbody and high ticket, and kind of combine it to where you guys get comfortable first, can start making money so that staying active is just like second nature to you. It's not even a problem. And that's what I did, and that's what helped me succeed early on. So, and I'll jump into it a little bit. We got about 4 minutes left. This call is recorded, but still yet I kind of want to dig into that a little bit and kind of share some things with you guys. So first things first, with perception, as far as, I won't go into the full glass, half empty, all that, but what I will go into is, when you guys think of your options, what do you think of as your options of selling a client? If I'm a client, what can you sell me? Mark, I'll go with you.
You said if you're a client, what can I tell you?
Yeah, what are my options? What can I sign up for? What do you have available for me?
I have online training. I mean, nutrition. That's pretty much what I have right now.
Okay.
I know there's more to it, like a mindset, maybe, you know, just getting the mindset correct, being mentally prepared.
Provided that, how much is that going to cost me if I sign up with you for all of that?
My price is always changing. Usually for like nutrition, I usually charge for about $150, and like for like the full program, it's usually $297, like the Brandon's method.
Perfect. So here's what I've done, and this kind of helps make things a lot easier for you guys getting started, because like if you're doing high ticket and you're also doing Beachbody, what you'll come across is like, shit, I didn't make that much money this month, and then my Shakeology payment's coming up. I got to stay active. And I'm just being blunt. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't sugarcoating nothing. I'm putting it out there like it is. The reality is if you ain't making money, it's a lot harder to want to actually stay active, right? So what I've set up is I have a Trello board, which is how I run my program. And instead of me charging a $297, one client out of the month, let's say I just charge them $100 for accountability. Now, that's not very much work because they're getting sample workouts from Beachbody. And then the custom meal guide is not me actually customizing all their meals. It's just a chart for them to follow. So plus the containers, which come from Beachbody. So that's $17 basically and 95 cents after shipping and handling. So in a nutshell, $120. So you're $30 cheaper than where you're currently at, and the client gets a lot more value for less money. So now, how much is your order for your Shakeology every month? $97 plus your $15 coaching fee. Now you're only paying $15 a month to be a Beachbody coach. That's what I've been doing since I started. I take at least one person monthly, and I'm like, I'm about willing to just give the program away for free, basically. I call $115. It's done. Well, $117. That pays me. Okay, now I get active. Okay, now I need to hustle and bustle and figure out how I need to get $297s and $1,200 payments plus Beachbody. You know what I mean? So if you can focus on just covering just that, which is your draw base, now you don't have to worry so much about, damn, I got to hustle so hard so I can just focus. Because if you go out with the mentality that I got to sell 10 or 20 people to make this much, it's going to be a lot harder than versus like, okay, my cushion is here. I got my support group around me. Now all I got to do is take all this knowledge in and go do it. It's a lot easier. You see where I'm coming from? And then with, like, let's say, for instance, you have somebody that comes in, they don't want to pay $150 for, well, not $150. They don't want to pay $297, right? They want everything you mentioned. They don't want to pay $297. You could do $100 straight up just for your accountability. And then there's also a program within Beachbody, which is Beachbody On Demand for 3 months. That costs $40. Now you're at $140. They got your whole program and they got 3 months of workouts.